My name is Grace Whitmore. I'm 34 years old. And until the Saturday, everything cracked open. I believed I was building a future with the man I loved. Caleb and I had been together for 5 years. We met in grad school when I went back for my MBA, at 29. He was finishing his master's in communications. The kind of man who could make a room lean toward him just by telling a story. He was charming, without looking like he was trying. Warm smile. Easy laugh. Steady hands. Back then, I thought steady meant safe. We started dating during the first semester. Moved in together after graduation. And built what I thought was a solid life. Shared furniture. Shared bills. Shared Sunday grocery lists written on the back of old receipts. I thought those little ordinary things meant commitment. But the last year had been rough. I had decided to go back again. This time for a specialized certification program in data analytics. It was intense in a way I had underestimated. 12-hour days between classes and projects. Weekend study groups. Late nights debugging code until my eyes burned. Sometimes I would fall asleep at my desk and wake up at 3 in the morning with keyboard marks pressed into my cheek. Caleb said he supported it. At least, his words did. His face told a different story. He started making comments that sounded like jokes, if you didn't listen too closely. Guess I'll book an appointment if I want to see my girlfriend. Your laptop gets more attention than I do. Must be nice having a whole future planned without asking where I fit. Every time, I tried to explain. I tried to soften myself. I tried to make him feel included. But the program was designed to be immersive. That was the point. This wasn't a hobby. This was the bridge to the career I had been trying to build for years. The final stretch was brutal. My capstone project alone consumed 3 months. I was presenting it as part of my graduation requirements. And somehow, impossibly, I had also been selected to speak on behalf of my cohort. 23 students. 18 months together in a pressure cooker. And they chose me. The ceremony was scheduled for Saturday, May 18th. At 2:00 p.m. I had invited Caleb weeks earlier. He said he would be there. My parents were flying in. My younger sister was driving up. It was a big deal for me. A second master's level achievement at 34. A career pivot. A door opening after years of trying to convince myself it was not too late. Caleb knew what it meant. He had watched me apply. He had helped me edit my admission essay. He had hugged me when I got accepted. At least, I thought he had been happy for me. Friday night. I asked him if he had picked out what he was wearing to the ceremony. He was sitting on the couch. Phone tilted away from me. Thumb moving quickly across the screen. I haven't decided yet. He said. It's tomorrow. I said gently. Just wondering. I know when it is. Something in his tone made the room feel smaller. Okay. I said. Just checking. He didn't answer. He went to bed around 10 without saying goodnight. I stayed up another hour, going over my speech notes. Smoothing the printed pages with my palm like I could press the anxiety out of them. Saturday morning. I woke up at 7. Graduation was at 2. But I had to be there by noon for lineup and final checks. Caleb was still asleep. I showered. Dried my hair. And put on the navy dress I had bought specifically for that day. Simple. Professional. The kind of dress that made me feel like the woman I had fought to become. I made coffee. Caleb came out of the bedroom around 9:30. Still in sweatpants. Hair messy. Eyes heavy. You're up early, he said. Big day. Remember, he blinked. Right. Your thing. My graduation. Yeah, that's what I meant. I made breakfast because I didn't know what else to do. Scrambled eggs. Toast. Fruit. He ate in silence, scrolling on his phone the entire time. I tried asking about dinner after the ceremony with my family. I tried asking if he had talked to his mom. I tried asking about anything normal. Every answer was a shrug, or one word. Arun sprezece, cinci sprezece. He was still in the same clothes. No shower. No shirt picked out. No movement toward the door. I stood in the hallway with my folder in one hand, and my keys in the other. Caleb? I said carefully. We need to leave in 15 minutes. I'm aware. You're not dressed. I said I'm aware. The coldness in his voice slid under my skin. Are you coming? For the first time all morning, he looked directly at me. His expression was blank. Not angry. Not sad. Just empty. I don't know. He said, Do you really need me there? I stared at him. It's my graduation. Of course I need you there. You have your parents. Your sister. You'll be fine. That's not the point. You're my boyfriend. This is important to me. He laughed once. But there was no humor in it. Everything is important to you lately. Your classes? Your projects? Your career? What about what's important to me? My heart started beating harder. This isn't the time for this conversation. I need to leave in 10 minutes. Then leave. Are you seriously doing this right now? I'm not doing anything. Grace. You're the one leaving. I remember looking at him then, and feeling something quiet break. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a thin crack somewhere deep. I grabbed my phone. My keys. And my folder. I need to go. I said. Please. Just please be there. He looked back down at his phone. We'll see. I left. The drive to the venue felt unreal. I kept glancing at my phone at red lights. Waiting for the message that would fix it. Something like, I'm sorry. I'm getting ready now. I'll meet you there. Nothing came. I arrived at 1:14:05. Checked in. Got my cap and gown. And found my place in line. My classmates were buzzing with excitement. Taking photos. Hugging. Laughing about finally being done. I smiled when I was supposed to. I nodded when people spoke to me. But my mind was still in my apartment. Standing in front of Caleb. Begging him to show up. Atunu, cincizeci, și opt p.m. 2 minutes before the ceremony was scheduled to begin. My phone buzzed. A text from Caleb. I opened it. I don't love you anymore. Consider this goodbye. I read it once, then again, then a third time. The processional music began somewhere beyond the doors. People started lining up. The ceremony coordinator was giving instructions, her voice sharp and cheerful. Another text came through. I should have told you sooner. I've felt this way for months. I can't keep pretending. Someone behind me touched my shoulder. Grace, are you okay? I nodded. I couldn't speak. My thumb hovered over the screen. There were 1,000 things I could have typed. Why now? How could you? After 5 years, 2 minutes before this. Instead, I wrote one word. Understood. Then I put my phone on silent. Slipped it into my pocket. Lifted my chin. And walked into that auditorium, with my class. The ceremony was a blur. I heard my name, called. I crossed the stage. I shook hands. I accepted my diploma. I smiled for photos. I gave my speech from memory. Every word delivered on autopilot, while my heart sat somewhere outside my body. People stood and applauded. My parents cried. My sister cheered so loudly I heard her above everyone, and through all of it, I felt nothing. Afterward, my family found me in the lobby. My mom wrapped both arms around me. Beaming. You were incredible, she said. My dad kept saying how proud he was. My sister made a joke about me collecting degrees like souvenirs. Then my mom looked around. Where's Caleb? I swallowed. He couldn't make it. Something came up. Her smile faded slightly. Is everything okay? Yeah, I said. Everything's fine. But it wasn't, because 2 minutes before I became the woman I had been fighting to become, the man I thought loved me chose to become the wound I would remember instead. The strange thing about heartbreak is that sometimes it doesn't arrive as pain. Sometimes it arrives as silence. I got back to the apartment around 8 that evening, after dinner with my family. The entire meal had felt like a performance. My father spent most of the evening talking about career opportunities. My mother kept taking pictures and insisting on one more family photo. My sister teased me about becoming a professional student and asked whether I planned to collect a third degree before turning 40. I smiled when I was supposed to. I laughed when the timing seemed right. But inside, I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out everything that made me human and left only the shell behind. The entire time, I kept hearing those words, "I don't love you anymore. Consider this goodbye." 5 years, reduced to 2 text messages. When I opened the apartment door, the first thing I noticed was the quiet. The second was that Caleb's car was gone. I stood in the living room for a long moment. Most of his things were still there. His books sat on the shelves. His favorite coffee mug was in the drying rack. His winter coat still hung beside mine near the entrance. But certain things were missing. His laptop, his charger, a Diffelbach, his favorite sneakers. Just enough essentials to survive somewhere else. Not enough to look permanent. That bothered me, because it meant planning. It meant he had thought this through. It meant he had known what he was going to do before he sent that text. My stomach twisted. Not because I wanted him back, because I suddenly realized he hadn't acted impulsively. He had chosen the timing, chosen the moment, chosen maximum damage. I dropped my graduation folder onto the coffee table and sat on the couch. The apartment felt unfamiliar, like it belonged to someone else. The memories came in waves. Movie nights, Sunday breakfasts, arguments that ended with apologies, vacations, birthdays, Christmas mornings, 5 years of moments, and somehow, none of them had been important enough to earn a face-to-face conversation. Just a text, a notification, a goodbye sent between ceremony lineup and opening remarks. That realization hurt more than the breakup itself. I sat there for nearly an hour, before finally reaching for my phone. Then I did something that surprised even me. I blocked him. Not just his number, everything. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Messenger, LinkedIn, every account, every connection. Gone. Then, I opened my photos. 1,247 pictures. Trips, holidays, selfies, anniversaries. Proof that we had existed. I selected all. Deleted. The screen asked if I was sure. I pressed yes, for the first time all day. My hands didn't shake. After that, I walked through the apartment and gathered his belongings. Clothes, toiletries, books, shoes, gaming equipment. Everything that was clearly his, I packed until midnight. Box after box. Neat labels, organized stacks. No tears. No hesitation. Just completion. By the time I went to bed, the guest room looked like a storage unit. I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The same ceiling I had stared at beside him for years. But this time, I wasn't wondering how to fix things. I was wondering why I ever thought I should. Sunday morning arrived quietly. I woke up expecting grief. Instead, I felt empty. Not devastated. Not furious. Just numb. I made coffee, worked out, prepared meals for the week, followed my routine with almost military precision. Structure felt safe. Control felt safe. Around 2 in the afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Something made me answer. Hello? Silence. Then a familiar voice. Grace. My expression hardened immediately. How did you get this number? It's me. I know who it is. A pause. Then Caleb exhaled shakily. You blocked me. Yes. We need to talk. No. We don't. Grace, you said what you needed to say yesterday. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. His voice grew frustrated. You can't just cut me off completely. I actually laughed. The sound surprised both of us. Really? I'm serious. So, Grace. We're still important to each other. No. The word came out sharper than I intended. No. Caleb. We were important to each other. Another silence? I could practically hear him recalculating, trying to understand why I wasn't crying, why I wasn't begging, why I wasn't fighting. I didn't think you'd react like this. There it is. What? The truth. What truth? I leaned back against the kitchen counter. The part where you expected something different. He didn't answer. Which was answer enough. You thought I'd chase you. No. You thought I'd convince you to stay? That's not. You thought I'd fight for us. His silence stretched. Long. Heavy. Damning. I closed my eyes. Because suddenly I understood. Not everything, but enough. He hadn't sent that text expecting an ending. He had sent it, expecting a reaction, a dramatic conversation, a declaration of love, proof that he mattered, proof that I would choose him over everything else. Instead, I had said one word, understood, and walked on stage. The realization made something click into place. I have to go. I said, wait. What? My stuff is still there. It's packed. What? It's in boxes. A sharp inhale. You packed everything already. Yes. You packed 5 years in one night. You ended 5 years in one text. The silence afterward felt enormous. Finally, he said, "You're being cruel." No. I looked toward the guest room, toward the stacked boxes, toward the future waiting beyond them. I'm being done. Then I hung up and blocked the number. Monday was my first day in my new role. The position I had earned because of the degree Caleb couldn't be bothered to watch me receive. My manager congratulated me. My team surprised me with cupcakes. Someone hung a banner near my desk. Another coworker brought flowers. Nothing extravagant, just kindness, simple kindness. And somehow that hurt more than the breakup, because strangers were showing me more support than the man who claimed to love me. By Tuesday, Caleb had found another way to reach me. An old messaging app we hadn't used in years. I almost admired the persistence. Almost. His message appeared just after lunch. Please. We need to talk. I made a mistake. Can we meet in person? I stared at the screen for several seconds, then replied, no. Pick up your things this week or I'll donate them. His response came immediately. You're being unfair. I typed back. I'm being finished. There's a difference. Then I logged out permanently. Wednesday evening, my neighbor texted me. A woman is outside your building. Says, she's your boyfriend. Looks upset. Should I be concerned? I nearly smiled. Even now, even after everything, Caleb was still introducing himself as my boyfriend. I replied, he's my ex. Don't worry. He'll leave eventually. 3 hours later, my neighbor confirmed he had finally gone. Thursday. He returned. This time, I saw him myself. I was standing inside a coffee shop across the street when his car pulled up. He sat on the building steps, waiting, checking his phone, looking toward the entrance every few minutes, watching, hoping. The sight should have broken my heart. Instead, it felt distant, like watching someone else's story. I stayed where I was, finished my coffee, read 2 chapters of a novel, and waited until he left. By the time Friday arrived, I thought maybe he would finally understand. I was wrong, because when I pulled into my usual parking spot after work, there he was, sitting on the front steps, waiting. The moment he saw me, he stood. Relief flooded his face, as if he had just spotted a life raft. Grace. I kept walking. Please. I stopped a few feet away. Not because I wanted to talk, because I wanted this to end. I've been trying to reach you all week, he said. I noticed. His eyes were red, like he hadn't been sleeping. I just need 5 minutes. You had 5 years. The words hit him harder than I expected. He flinched. Actually flinched. Grace. What? I was confused. I stared. I was overwhelmed. I stared harder. You were so busy. I felt invisible. Okay. His forehead wrinkled. Okay. That's all you're going to say. I shrugged. What would you like me to say? He looked stunned, as though this conversation was following the wrong script. I want you to understand. I do understand. Then, I understand you felt neglected. He nodded quickly. Exactly. I understand that instead of communicating like an adult, you waited until the most important day of my life and tried to destroy it. The color drained from his face. That's not fair. It is fair. It wasn't planned. The lie arrived too quickly, too automatically, and for the first time all week. He felt anger. Real anger. You expect me to believe that? What? You packed a bag. He froze. You took essentials. His eyes widened. You knew exactly what you were doing. Grace, you chose the timing. His mouth opened, then closed. No defense, no explanation. Because there wasn't one. I thought you'd fight for us. He finally whispered, and there it was. The truth. The real truth. The confession hidden beneath everything else. I looked at him for a long moment. Then, I smiled. Sadly. A smile filled with disappointment, rather than cruelty. Why would I fight for someone who told me they didn't love me? His eyes immediately filled with tears, and for a brief second, I saw genuine panic, not regret, not yet, fear. The fear of realizing the door he slammed shut wasn't going to reopen. The tears started falling before Caleb could stop them. Real tears. Not manipulative ones. Not the dramatic kind designed to win arguments. These were different, messiah, more desperate. The kind that appeared when someone finally realized consequences were real. Grace. Please. He whispered. I didn't mean it. I stood there looking at him. For years. Seeing him cry would have shattered me. I would have wrapped my arms around him, asked what was wrong, promised we'd figure it out together. But standing on those apartment steps, I felt like I was looking at a stranger wearing Caleb's face. You didn't mean it, I asked calmly. I was angry. You texted me 2 minutes before my graduation ceremony. I know. You told me you didn't love me. I didn't mean that part. A bitter laugh escaped me. That's supposed to make me feel better. He wiped his face. No. I was hurt. Hurt enough to destroy someone else's biggest day. The question landed hard. His eyes dropped. Neither of us spoke for several seconds. Traffic moved behind us. A dog barked somewhere down the street. Life continued. And somehow that made the moment feel even sadder. Finally, Caleb looked up. I love you. The words hung in the air. 6 days earlier. Hearing them would have changed everything. Now they felt empty. Late. Like flowers delivered after a funeral. I shook my head slowly. You know what's funny? What? I believe you. His face brightened slightly. The smallest flicker of hope. I extinguished it immediately. I believe you love me. His shoulders relaxed. But that's not enough anymore. The hope vanished. You can't mean that. I do. People make mistakes. They do. We can work through this. I looked at him quietly, then said the sentence that changed his entire face. I signed a lease for a new apartment. Everything stopped. The color drained from his skin. His eyes widened. His mouth actually fell open. For a moment, he looked like he hadn't understood the words. Then, reality caught up. You're what? I signed yesterday. The panic was immediate. Raf. Visible. You're moving. Yes. Where? That's not your concern. His breathing became uneven. Grace. Wait. No. You can't just move. I almost laughed. The irony was unbelievable. You broke up with me. I didn't mean, you said goodbye. I was emotional. You ended our relationship. His voice cracked. We lived together. The desperation in those words was startling, as if he had only now remembered that actions create outcomes. The lease is in my name. I said, I gave notice. His face paled further. You already talked to the landlord? Yes. When? The day after graduation. His expression shifted from shock to horror, because he was finally understanding something. Every day he had spent trying to contact me, every hour sitting outside my building, every emotional speech, I had already been moving forward. Without him, where am I supposed to go? He asked. There it was, the question he really wanted answered. Not where I was going, where he was. I looked at him steadily. That's something you should have considered before ending a 5-year relationship. His eyes filled again. This isn't you. No. I nodded. It's not. Then, I walked past him, straight toward the building entrance. Grace. I kept walking. Grace. Please. My hand touched the door handle. I love you. For the first time since graduation, my chest hurt. Not because I wanted him back, because I realized he probably believed that, and somehow that made everything worse. I turned once, just once, then looked directly into his eyes. If you loved me, I said quietly, you would have been there. The door closed behind me, and I never looked back. That weekend he found my email, the one platform I had forgotten. Saturday morning, 7:14 a.m. The first message arrived. Subject please read. I deleted it. At 32 a.m. Another appeared. Then another, and another. By Sunday evening there were 17 emails. Each one longer than the last. Each one more desperate. The first few focused on explanations. Then came apologies. Then declarations of love. Then memories, photographs, promises, begging. The progression was almost painful to watch. Like watching someone drown in slow motion. I finally opened one Monday morning. Not because I cared, because I wanted to understand. The email was over 4,000 words. 4,000. He described every insecurity, every fear, every moment he felt lonely while I studied, every resentment he never communicated. And hidden beneath all of it was one repeated sentence. I didn't think you'd leave. There it was again. The truth. Not, I didn't want to lose you. Not I. Shouldn't have hurt you. I didn't think you'd leave. He thought I would stay. No matter what. I saw one final response. 3 sentences. I listened. I heard you say you didn't love me. I heard you say goodbye. Then, I blocked his email address. Forever. Sunday afternoon, he showed up again. This time I saw his car from my window. I simply closed the curtains. He knocked. I ignored him. He called my name. I ignored him. He sat outside for nearly 4 hours. I ignored him. At one point, I made tea, read a chapter of a book, started updating my resume. The entire time he sat outside, waiting, believing persistence would somehow reverse reality. It didn't. Monday brought an unexpected surprise. My landlord called. Grace. He said. I heard what's been happening. Apparently the neighbors had noticed. Apparently everyone had noticed. I felt embarrassed. But he didn't sound judgmental. Just concerned. After I explained the situation, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said something unexpected. I can move your move-out date up. I blinked. What? If you want out sooner, I'll waive the fees. My chest tightened. Really? Seen situations like this before. He sighed. Sometimes distance helps. I nearly cried. Not because of Caleb, because kindness felt so rare lately. By the end of the call, everything had changed. Instead of 2 weeks, I had 4 days. Friday, fresh start. New address. New beginning. I spent the rest of Monday packing, hiring movers, scheduling utilities, changing mailing addresses, making lists, crossing off tasks. For the first time since graduation, excitement began replacing grief. A future was forming, and Caleb wasn't part of it. Wednesday evening, things became strange. I arrived home to find items sitting outside my door. A gift bay, a scrapbook, a framed photograph, a stack of letters tied together with ribbon. I stared at them. For a long moment, the scrapbook caught my eye. 5 years of memories, vacations, birthdays, anniversaries, a relationship compressed into paper. 1 week earlier, seeing that would have destroyed me. 1 week earlier, I would have sat on the floor, crying. Instead, I felt tired. Just tired. Because it wasn't about the memories. It was about timing. Everything arrived after consequences appeared. After I moved on. After I stopped chasing. I carried the entire pile to the dumpster, without opening a single thing, and threw it away. Thursday was my final full day. I spent most of it cleaning, packing, Preparing. At around 6 in the evening. Someone knocked. Then knocked again, and again. Voices followed. I froze. Caleb. And someone else? A woman. His mother. Wonderful. The knocking continued. 20 minutes. 20 full minutes. I sat on my couch wearing headphones, listening to music, ignoring every second. Eventually, I heard his mother's voice through the door. I don't think she's home. Then quieter. Come on. Caleb. A pause. Then, let's go. Their footsteps disappeared. A few minutes later, I peeked through the blinds. His mother was hugging him beside the car. He looked devastated, completely broken. For a moment, guilt tried to surface. Then another memory appeared. A graduation gown. A buzzing phone. Anna, Osamin Betteset, P.M. And the guilt vanished. Friday morning arrived bright and clear. The movers showed up at 8 by 11. Everything was gone. The apartment looked empty, echoing, like a chapter that had finished. I stood in the middle of the living room one last time. 5 years? So many memories, so many plans, gone. Oddly enough, I wasn't sad, just reflective. I left my keys with the landlord, then sat in my car. Before driving away, I sent one final text from a temporary number. Your belongings are in storage unit 247 at Oak Street Storage. Access code 4832. Paid through the end of the month. After that, they're your responsibility. Good luck. I pressed send, blocked the number, started the engine, and drove away. In the rearview mirror, the apartment building grew smaller and smaller, until eventually, it disappeared completely. For the first time in weeks, I felt something unexpected. Peace. The first week in my new apartment felt unreal. Not exciting. Not lonely. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that lets you hear yourself think again. The apartment was smaller than the old one. The kitchen barely fit a table. The bedroom was half the size of the one I used to share with Caleb. The living room overlooked a parking lot instead of a city view, and yet I loved it. Because every inch belonged to me. My furniture. My routines. My decisions. No compromises. No tension. No wondering whether someone secretly resented my success. Just peace. The first night, I sat on the floor eating takeout because the dining table hadn't arrived yet. For the first time, in months, I finished a meal without feeling guilty about something. That realization hit harder than I expected. Maybe things had been broken longer than I wanted to admit. Maybe graduation hadn't destroyed the relationship. Maybe it had simply exposed what was already dying. Only 3 people knew my new address. My parents, my sister, my best friend, Hannah. Before moving, I made each of them promise not to share it. No exceptions. No sympathy conversations. No accidental slips. Nothing. To their credit, they took it seriously, especially after they learned the full story. I had hidden most of it from them after graduation. The embarrassment felt overwhelming at first, but eventually I told them everything. The timing, the text, the breakup, the stalking, the repeated attempts to force contact. My mother cried. My father became frighteningly quiet. My sister nearly drove across town to confront Caleb herself. Tell me where he lives, she said. I just want to talk. You absolutely do not. She folded her arms. Fine. A pause. Then I'll settle for imagining it. That made me laugh for the first time in weeks. A real laugh. Not a forced one. And it felt wonderful. Unfortunately, Caleb wasn't finished. 2 days after I moved, one of our mutual friends called. Her name was Melissa. We had both known her since graduate school. Grace, she said carefully. Please don't hang up. Bad start. Isahil. What is it? It's Caleb. Of course it was. He isn't doing well. I stared out the window. A familiar pattern. Someone hurts you. Then suddenly everyone becomes concerned about how the person who hurt you is feeling. Funny how often that happens. I'm sorry to hear that. He misses you. I'm sure he does. Grace. No. The word came out sharper than intended. Silence. Then Melissa asked softly, "Do you really mean that?" I thought about it. Not the question. The answer. Did I mean it? Did I truly want no contact? No reconciliation? No second chance? The surprising part was how easy the answer felt. Yes. Melissa was quiet. He says he made a mistake. He did. He says he loves you. I looked around my apartment, at the boxes, at my diploma hanging against the wall, waiting to be framed, at the future beginning to take shape. Then I answered honestly. Sometimes love isn't enough. She didn't argue. Neither of us mentioned Caleb again. A week later, another mutual friend contacted me. Then another. The story was always similar. Caleb was struggling. Caleb was devastated. Caleb couldn't believe I had moved on so quickly. That last one almost made me laugh. Quickly. He had watched me spend years building a future. He had watched me sacrifice sleep, weekends, and peace of mind. Then, he chose the exact moment that future became reality to walk away. And somehow I was the one moving too fast. The logic was impressive. Eventually, I sent the same response to everyone. Caleb made a choice. I respected it. Now I need everyone else to respect it too. The messages stopped after that. Mostly. The third week brought a new surprise. LinkedIn. Apparently Caleb had discovered professional networking. His message started formally. Congratulations on your graduation. Congratulations on the new position. Hope you're doing well. The first 3 sentences almost sounded normal. Then the message unraveled. I miss you. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I think about you every day. I would do anything for another chance. Anything. I read the message once, then restricted his account, made my profile private, and continued eating lunch. That was it. No dramatic response. No closure speech. No final conversation. Because closure isn't something another person gives you. It's something you decide to create. And I already had mine. 3 days later. Things escalated. I was at work reviewing reports when my phone rang. The number belonged to building security. My stomach immediately tightened. Hello, Ms. Whitmore. Yes. There's a gentleman in the lobby requesting to see you. I closed my eyes. I already knew. He says he's your boyfriend. Of course he did. I took a slow breath. He's not my boyfriend. Pause. Then, would you like us to send him up? No. Understood. Another pause. He says it's an emergency. I almost laughed. An emergency. 3 weeks ago, I would have believed that. No, not so much. Please ask him to leave. The security officer lowered his voice. We already tried. Wonderful. Then ask again. If he refuses, I looked at the glass wall of my office, at my coworkers working quietly, at the life I had spent years building, the life he had attempted to ruin. If he refuses, I said calmly, call the police. The silence on the other end lasted 2 full seconds. Then, understood. 10 minutes later, security called back. He left. Good. Unfortunately. Not before causing a scene. Several coworkers had noticed. A few asked questions. I gave them the shortest version possible. My ex doesn't accept that we're broken up. That explanation turned out to be enough. Most adults understand exactly how exhausting that situation can be. My manager certainly did. She offered support immediately. Then authorized security to add Caleb's photo to the restricted access list. Professional. Efficient. Permanent. Exactly how I liked things. 6 weeks after graduation, I finally realized something important. I was happy. Not pretending. Not recovering. Actually happy. The promotion opportunity at work looked promising. My manager wanted me to lead a major analytics project launching next quarter. The type of opportunity I had dreamed about during all those sleepless nights, studying. The irony wasn't lost on me. The degree Caleb couldn't be bothered to watch me receive had become the foundation for everything good happening now. Life has a strange sense of humor. I had also started dating again. Nothing serious. Just coffee dates. Conversation. Learning what it felt like to meet people without carrying the weight of an old relationship. One evening, I met a man named Ethan. Smart. Funny. Kind. The date lasted 3 hours. We talked about books, careers, travel, and terrible reality television. When I got home, I realized something. The entire evening had passed without me thinking about Caleb. Not once. That felt significant. Like crossing an invisible finish line. Around that time, mutual friends reported something surprising. Caleb had finally stopped trying to contact me. No more messages. No more surprise appearances. No more attempts through other people. Apparently he had accepted reality. Apparently he was telling people I had changed. That I became cold, heartless, someone he didn't recognize. Maybe he was right. Because the woman he had known before graduation would have chased him. She would have begged. She would have negotiated. She would have accepted an apology simply because she loved him. The woman I became afterward understood something different. Love without respect isn't enough. Love without support isn't enough. Love without presence isn't enough. Real partners show up, especially when it matters, especially when it's difficult, especially when you're standing on the edge of one of the biggest moments of someone's life. A few days ago, someone asked whether I missed him. The answer surprised even me. No. Not because I hated him. I didn't. Not anymore. Hate requires energy, and I was finished giving him mine. What I missed was the idea of him. The version I believed existed. The version who would have sat proudly in the audience. The version who would have applauded when my name was called. The version who would have wrapped me in his arms afterward and said, "You did it? I'm proud of you." That man never existed. Or if he did, he disappeared long before graduation. Either way, he wasn't the man who sent that text. And he's not the man I miss. I'm 34 years old. I have 2 advanced degrees. A career I genuinely love. Friends and family who showed up when it mattered. A future that excites me. Most importantly, I have self-respect. I have boundaries. I have peace. And peace is worth more than any relationship built on uncertainty. 6 weeks ago, Caleb texted, "Consider this goodbye." He expected me to fight. He expected me to chase. He expected me to prove my love. Instead, I considered it. Then I agreed. Looking back now, it was the best decision either of us ever made.